Hello viewers, this is our second session with Twelfth Night, a delightful and happy play. It has been taken from a play written by Bandello, and the name of the play was Deniente. It means the deceived, the duped, the cheated, things like that. Now the problem is, who is deceived, who is cheated, or who is the person who is duped? The most persons who enjoy this play and who enjoy most is the audience. They are the ones who are not cheated. This is the one important aspect of the play which has sometimes been not mentioned by the critics even, that Shakespeare not only has his confidence in his audience, but he completely enjoys the audience and their reactions and keeps them in his confidence all the time. It is therefore the characters in the play who are duped, who are deceived, or who are the losers, or who are the gainers, but the best gainers are the audience, that is, we people. Down the ages, people in many generations, and thousands and thousands and millions of them by now, they have enjoyed this play, knowing what's happening to the characters, and this is a device which is usually used in tragedy. That is, people do not know what they are talking about, while the audience knows that there is something which they don't know, and they enjoy. While they enjoy, or sometimes they shiver with terror that something which has already been done is not known to another person. There is, for example, a man is dead, and the other person does not know about his death. That is how the tragedy and shock comes with a new jolt, with a new kind of shock, and it is the audience who knows how the character is going to react, how he's going to be shocked by the sudden discovery of what they know, but the character does not know. In this play, therefore, there are many instances in which the audience is in confidence, is in knowledge, while the characters themselves do not know what's happening to them. So the big and the important point in this play is the disguise. It is through disguise that we know that Viola is not a man, she is Cesario, but as Cesario, she is not a man, she is a woman. It is the audience who enjoy how a woman falls into love with a woman.
Madam, yon young fellow swears he will speak with you. I told him you were sick. He takes on him to understand so much, and therefore comes to speak with you. I told him you were asleep. He seems to have a foreknowledge of that too, and therefore comes to speak with you. What is to be said to him, lady? He is fortified against any denial.
Tell him he shall not speak with me.
Has been told so. And he says he'll stand at your door like a sheriff's post and be the supporter to a bench, but he'll speak with you.
What kind of man is he?
Why, of mankind.
What manner of man?
A very ill manner. He'll speak with you, will you or no?
Of what personage and years is he?
Not yet old enough for a man, nor young enough for a boy. As a squash he is, before it is a peace cod, or a codling when it is almost an apple. It is with him in standing water between boy and man. He is very well favoured, and he speaks very shrewishly. One would think his mother's milk was scarce out of him.
Let him approach. Call in my gentlewoman.
Gentlewoman, my lady calls.
Give me my veil. Come, throw it over my face. We'll once more hear Orsino's embassy.
As the Duke's message is only for Olivia's ears, she dismisses Maria, her lady-in-waiting, and receives Cesario alone.
Give us the place alone. We will hear this divinity. Now, sir, what is your text? Most sweet lady, a comfortable doctrine, and much may be said of it. Where lies your text? In Orsino's bosom. In his bosom? In what chapter of his bosom? To answer by the method, in the first of his heart. Oh, I have read it. It is heresy. Have you no more to say? Good madam, let me see your face. Have you any commission from your lord to negotiate with my face? You are now out of your text. But we will draw the curtain and show you the picture. Look you, sir. Such a one I was this present. Is't not well done? Excellently done, if God did all. 'Tis in grain, sir. 'Twill endure wind and weather. 'Tis beauty truly blent, whose red and white nature's own sweet and cunning hand laid on. Lady, you are the cruelest she alive if you will lead these graces to the grave and leave the world no copy. Oh, sir, I will not be so hard-hearted. I will give out divers schedules of my beauty. It shall be inventoried, and every particle and utensil labelled to my will, as item, 2 lips indifferent red, item, 2 grey eyes with lids to them, item, 1 neck, 1 chin, and so forth. Were you sent hither to praise me? I see what you are too proud. But if you are the devil, you are fair. My lord and master loves you. Oh, such love could be but recompense, though you were crowned the nonpareil of beauty. How does he love me? With adorations, fertile tears, with groans of thunder, love, with sighs of fire. Your lord does know my mind. I cannot love him. Yet I suppose him virtuous, know him noble, of great estate, of fresh and stainless youth, in voices well divulged, free, learned, and valiant, and in dimension and the shape of nature a gracious person. But yet I cannot love him. He might have took his answer long ago. If I did love you in my master's flame, with such a suffering, such a deadly life, in your denial I would find no sense, I would not understand it. Why? What would you? Make me a willow cabin at your gate, and call upon my soul within the house. Write loyal cantons of contented love, and sing them loud even in the dead of night. Halloo your name to the reverberate hills, and make the babbling gossip of the air cry out, Olivia! Oh, you should not rest between the elements of air and earth, but you should pity me. You might do much. What is your parentage? Above my fortunes, though my state is well. I am a gentleman.
It is Duke Orsino who does not know that he is now the target of another person's love, not Olivia. Olivia has rejected him, he knows it, but he does not know that another person is in love with him, and that person who is in love with him is his own servant, whom he knows as a man and not as a woman. In the same way, when we see the captain of the ship, Antonio, and his friend Sebastian, they are also in for trouble when Antonio gives his purse to Sebastian to enjoy himself and go into the city and buy something with that. And when he meets Cesario, he demands his purse. At the moment when he is arrested, he says, I'm going to jail and I might have some money with me. It might be useful to me, he says. And it is Cesario who says that I'm a very poor person, I don't have much money, and whatever money I have got, I can share with you. Because before that, it was Antonio who had fought on behalf of Cesario, taking Cesario as Sebastian, and he hits them, the adversaries. And who are the adversaries? Sir Toby Belch and Sir Andrew Aguecheek. They are beaten, not knowing that they are not dealing with a coward or a boy, but they are fighting with a fully grown man who is Sebastian, the brother. And before that even, they were trying to make a fool out of Sir Andrew Aguecheek, and they were saying that this man who is asking for the hand of, who meets every day from Duke Orsino, and he is being shown favors by the lady of the house, why should he not fight with them? They asked Andrew Aguecheek to fight with this man Cesario, and he said that, all right, I'm going to write a letter to him, and I'm going to challenge him, and I'm going to beat him and hit him with a sword. He does all that. But when he is facing Cesario, he does not have the courage to draw his sword and to fight. At that moment, Cesario himself is a coward. He is, of course, not a man. It's a girl, and the girl is afraid of fighting, and when she has to fight, she is rather going backwards rather than going forward. When the two cowards are facing each other, one going backward the other way and one going backward the other way, it is at that moment that Antonio comes, and recognizing in Cesario his friend Sebastian, he fights with Andrew Aguichic, and when the fight goes on, rather for a time, for more than could be afforded by this man Aguichic, Sir Toby Welch comes in and he says, if you are going to fight, fight with me. Even he is wounded. That is the kind of situation, once again, that is enjoyed highly by the audience only, and not by the players, because the players don't know what they are doing.
Put up your sword! If this young gentleman have done offense, I take the fault on me. If you offend him, I for him defy you.
You, sir? Why, what are you?
One, sir, that for his love dares yet do more than you have heard him brag to you he will.
Nay, if you be an undertaker, I am for you.
Unknown to Viola, Antonio rescued her brother Sebastian from the sea and brought him to Illyria. His sudden arrest brings the duel to an end.
Oh, good Sir Toby, hold! Here come the officers.
I'll be with you anon.
Pray, sir, put your sword up, if you please.
Oh, marry will I, sir. And for that I promise you I'll be as good as my word.
This is the man. Do thy office.
Antonio, I arrested the suit of Count Orsino.
The next point that I want to talk about is the songs. The songs sung by this man Feste, the Joker, the clown. The fact is that when the play was being written, all these songs had to be sung not by that clown, not by that Joker, but by other people also. It was Viola who confesses that she could sing something. It was she, as Cesario, who said that of course she can sing songs. And at one point when this man, Duke Orsino, he asks Viola to sing something, she says, no, I did not sing the song, but the song was sung by another person. That person is the clown. And the clown was chosen for this kind of singing because there was one actor, his name was Robert Armin, A-R-M-I-N, who was available at that time. And when Shakespeare came to realize that Robert Armin could sing in his plays, it was he who wrote songs for Robert Armin, and Robert Armin it was who played the Joker or played the clown. So this is another interesting fact along with this play, that for the sake of a singer, he wrote songs. And one of the most beautiful songs by Shakespeare is in this play, and that is Come Away, Death. There are 4 songs, major songs in that. And all those songs, in one way or the other, either represent the mood of Duke Orsino or the philosophy of this man, this melancholy, musical clown Feste. His vision of life is not much of a happy one. Therefore, when he sings in a melancholy way. And when you will come to listen to his singing, perhaps we may not very much enjoy, because in a happy mood, in a happy comedy, and in a happy atmosphere, when we listen to the songs which are rather pathetic, which are rather sad, we have a strange kind of experience. The experience which perhaps Shakespeare did intend to give the audience a taste of pathos, the taste of a little tragedy in the life which was full of comedy. Indeed, if we come to think of this play in that kind of light, we realize with a shock that the stuff of the play is not comic at all. It is tragic as well. And it is true about all his comedies as well, because there is that stuff of tragedy in the play. There is a shipwreck, there is a person who is abandoned, who does not know how to behave herself and how to live in that town. And there are other person who is also shipwrecked. There are other persons who are being rejected in love. There are other persons who are suffering from love. This whole stuff is not that of a comedy, but it is out of this stuff that he followed the tradition and wrote a comedy which has outlived all other similar comedies. But he has retained the musical and the melancholy crown with his sad songs. And I would rather like to go with you through some lines of songs. "Oh, mistress mine, where are you roaming?" And he wants the mistress to come to him, because the world is not endless, the time is not endless, and death comes very quickly. And before death comes, it rather should be enjoyed by persons who are loving each other. And beauty is like a rose that when it is at its highest point, it starts, withering. And these lines are there also. Even Duke Orsino has that kind of sentiment, that beauty is like a rose and it withers when it is at its most beautiful. The next song, which is of course the most famous and the best song, it is supposed to be by Shakespeare, come away, death, and in sad cypress let me be laid. Fly away, breath, I'm slain by fair, cruel maid. This kind of sentimental song from an English play is very, very rare, I should say. It is rather in our tradition, the tradition of ghazal and the tradition of geet, in which the lover is pining away from the love of his beloved, and he says, "I'm killed by her, and I did this and that," and the kind of personality which is given to the beloved is rather very cruel. And it is here we find strange sympathy and rather empathy with the joker, who is acting like a very traditional lover of our own poetry, very melancholy and very, very effective for us also. I would go rather to the last song, and here the song is "When that I was and a little tiny boy, with hay, ho, and the wind and the rain." And the last line of this these stanzas is, "The rain, it raineth every day." We welcome the rain, of course. The rain, it raineth every day. But in our 4 stages of life, we are always going towards our grave. And this touch of sentiment, that man is going from boyhood to youth and to old age and going to his grave, is again gives us a touch of melancholy by this sad singer, this man Feste. And again, when the priest is brought in the play to give his evidence that he has married Olivia with Sebastian, the words that he says have got a touch of melancholy in them. He says that 2 hours have gone when I've been claimed, and I'm journeying towards my journey to grave. 2 hours have gone, and since at that time I've married these 2 young people. This consciousness of death is very strange in a very happy comedy. Then we come to the dances. It is very strange to say that in one scene, which is perhaps scene 3 of the very first act, we come to know about the names of all kinds of dances that were fashionable in those days. It is Gilead, and it is pirouette, and it is jig, and it is and so many other things. All these dances are being mentioned by Sir Toby Belch in order to incite and to instigate Sir Andrew Aguecheek to go through some kind of movements which are the movements of dance. And why the intention is to make this old man, the man who is old, the man who is weak, the man who is rather thin, to go through certain movements which will be very comic, very highly delightful to the people looking at them. And then there's the most delightful character of Maria, the impish, the mischievous servant of the house. The problem is, from where does Maria come? From where does Malvolio come? And the point here I want to make for your consideration is that this comedy is not entirely a romantic comedy. Twelfth Night is a combination of two kinds of comedy, classical comedy and romantic comedy. In classical comedy, the major character was an older man who had to be ridiculed and who is supposed to have gone off the rails and he has to be brought back. Usually the man in the middle was a miser, the old man who would rather not give his money to the young people. Here in this comedy we find Malvolio as the older man who is always strict, who is puritanical, and yet he is ambitious and he is victim of self-love. He is a man who does not belong to romantic comedy, he belongs to classical comedy. The other important point in classical comedy is the servants. It is the servants who plan and conspire and make a whole scheme to bring down the older man to his knees and to humiliate him.
Olivia's uncle, Sir Toby, and the foppish Sir Andrew Aguecheek spend much of their time in merrymaking with Feste, Olivia's clown. A purpose of this nocturnal revelry is to make sleep impossible for Malvolio, Olivia's pompous, self-opinionated steward.
What a caterwauling do you keep here? If my lady have not called up her steward, Malvolio, and bid him turn you out of doors, never trust me.
My ladies are concerned. We are politicians. Malvolio is a Peter Ramsey, and three merry men be we. Three merry men be we. Am I not consanguineous? Am I not of her blood? Tilly Valley. There dwelt a man in Babylon.
Beshrew me, the knight's in admirable fooling.
Aye, he does well enough if he be disposed. And so do I, too. Oh, he does it with a better grace. I do it more natural.
My masters, are you mad? Or what are you? Have you no wit, manners, nor honesty, but to gabble like tinkers at this time of night? Do you make an alehouse of my lady's house that ye squeak out your coziers' catches without any mitigation nor remorse of voice? Is there no respect of place, persons, nor time in you?
We did keep time, sir, in our catches. Snack up.
Sir Toby, I must be round with you. My lady bade me tell you that though she harbours you as her kinsman, she is nothing allied to your disorders. If you can separate yourself in your misdemeanors, you are welcome to the house. If not, and it would please you to take leave of her, she is very willing to bid you farewell.
Farewell, dear heart, since I must needs be gone.
Good Sir Toby.
His eyes do show his days are almost done.
Yes, even so.
But I will never die. Sir Toby, there you'll die.
This is much credit to you.
Shall I bid him go?
What then if you do?
Shall I bid him go and spare not?
Oh, no, 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 you dare not.
Out of tune, sir, you lie. Art any more than a steward? Dost thou think, because thou art virtuous, there shall be no more cakes and ale?
Yes, by St. Anne, and ginger shall be hot in the mouth, too.
That's right. Go, sir. Rub your chain with crumbs. A stoup of wine, Maria.
Mistress Mary, if you prized my lady's favour at anything more than contempt, you would not give means for this uncivil rule. She shall nerve it by this hand.
Go and shake your ears.
'Twere as good a deed as to drink when a man's hungry, to challenge him the field, and then to break promise with him and make a fool of him.
Do it, knight. I'll write thee a challenge, or I'll bear thy indignation to him by word of mouth.
Sweet Sir Toby, be patient for tonight. Since the youth of the Count's was today with my lady, she is much out of quiet.
And then the last point which I want to talk to you about this play is the difficulty of understanding the contemporary jokes. That is something, because it is this one play in which he describes and mentions and presents to us the people living in his own time. They are the living people, the people who belong to the subplot. and their jokes are the jokes of the 16th century. They are jokes of that time. For example, in those days, an ambassador had come from Iran. An Englishman had come, and he talked about the Safavis of Iran. And the Shah of Iran is therefore called Safi. The word Safavi has been given the shape of Safi in this play. And unless you know that the word means Safavi, you can just not understand what it means. Safi means S-O-P-H-Y. This is again a strange thing. The other thing is that when they talk in their own idiom, which is very difficult to understand because the idiom has gone out of fashion, even in England. For example, at one place, that man Malvolio says, "I have been propertied." What exactly has happened is that he has been put into a dark room by himself as a kind of punishment given to a mental person, a mad person. There he is, alone, lonely, in the dark room, and he says, "I have been propertied." You know, the term has come from the theatre. The things used on the stage are called property. And when the thing is used and it is of no purpose to us, we just throw it away into a corner. And that is what we mean by saying the word property. He has been thrown into a corner as something neglected, as something useless. And in this kind, there are so many other jokes. People are always trying to have a bet or a kind of wager, 1 to 14, that I can prove this and I can do that. Now 1 to 14 means that people in those days went outside England into long voyages, and they would get help from public money, and if a man would give £1 to contribute to a voyage outside England, he, on the return of voyage, when the man is supposed to come back with his gold and with his spices and with his things and with other precious things, the return of money will be £14 for £1 that he had contributed. So this kind of joke is not now understandable. We deal with banks and we deal with projects and we deal with factories and all that, and stock exchange and things like that, but not and we don't understand how after the end of a voyage one man is going to get £14 for £1. There are several other jokes, and while teaching this play to the students, a teacher comes across lots of difficulties in explaining those jokes. Those jokes are about the hunting with the help of the birds, the hawks and other things, the hunting in the forests, and also the way the food was prepared, the way people rode on the horses. So horses also come as a matter of conversation, as a matter of joke, and someone is described as a bad horse or a good horse, and so are these jokes. So with the mixture of these jokes, with the mixture of dances, with the mixture of songs, and with the masterly mixture of classical comedy and romantic comedy, Twelfth Night is a play by itself, delightful, also melancholy, and living as always, a play to be enjoyed by everyone throughout the ages. Thank you very much.
A little tiny boy with hey-ho, the wind and the rain, a foolish thing was but a toy, for the rain it raineth every day. With hey-ho, the wind and the rain, for the rain it raineth every day. But when I came to man's estate, with hey-ho, the wind and the rain, 'gainst knaves and fools men shut the gate, for the rain it rained.